Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. This experience on Christmas Eve is one that has become the most sacred and treasured for many of us on Christmas Eve, the conclusion of the Christmas Eve service by candlelight and singing Silent Night together. But when did this custom arise, and how did it become such the thing that it is now? Well, it all started with a broken church, or at least a church whose organ was broken. And there was the curate of that, the pastor of that church, had in 1818, he was impacted by this nativity performance that he witnessed, that took part in a home nearby his parish. And as he was on his way home and came over a hillside and everything was snow-covered and peaceful, it reminded him of a poem that he had written a couple years prior. That poem is what we now sing as Silent Night. He asked the music director, Franz Gruber, if he could compose something for guitar and voice so that they might be able to have some music on Christmas Eve. And that became the foundations of Silent Night, and it remains unchanged as far as its music and as far as its words since that time. Now, they got the organ fixed shortly after Christmas Eve, interestingly enough. And when Franz Gruber, after getting that organ fixed, it was a gentleman by the name of Karl. He came in to fix the organ. He and Gruber tested it by playing this new song that he had written. Then I think his name is Marauchauer, took copies of that and then shared it more broadly with others and taught it to others. In 1834, so that was 1818, in 1834, it was sung for King Frederick IV of Prussia, who liked the song so much he ordered that it must be sung at the cathedral by the cathedral choir every Christmas Eve there following. By 1838 was its first time that it appeared in the United States, and that was in New York City at Trinity Church. And from then on, it's been kind of a custom that has made its way around. Now, where do we get in with the candlelight piece of this edition? Because we don't know that that really was a component of it in its first year. In Northern Europe, there were lots of customs that happened around the winter solstice that involved light, particularly candlelight, as a way to chase away the darkness. So on the longest night of the year, often candlelight would be used as a way to understand that was the longest night and to chase it away as more daylight would follow in every day following. We already had in liturgical use from way, way long ago the use of a Christ candle, or the white candle, in Lent. At the conclusion of Lent, the lighting of the Christ candle was used during the Easter Vigil as a celebration of the resurrection. And so we started to have incorporated some of these customs of chasing away the darkness alongside of the use of the Christ candle, and then its incorporation into the Advent wreath and the custom of the Advent wreath, which I covered in a different video, which is fairly young as a liturgical custom, so that on Christmas Eve, particularly at the midnight service, somewhere where we crossed between the threshold of Advent on the 24th into the reality of Christmas on the 25th, this candle was lit to represent the birth of Jesus. And then from that, we get in our service to that time where we light our candle from the Christ candle, from the light of Christ, and then we share that to the others that we are in worship with, candle to candle, until the entire sanctuary is filled with candlelight, each of us holding that light of Christ in front of us as a symbolic way to understand the light of Christ that also lives within us or has been lit within us as we conclude the service with those words penned so many years ago for a broken church, as Moore had penned them and Franz Gruber then wrote the music for. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. So hopefully this gives you a little more of an appreciation of the symbolism of the Christ candle, how we are sharing that light of Christ, and how a broken church inspired one of our greatest Christmas Eve traditions.